Well, welcome along to the Sporting Life Timeform preview of the Kipco 1000 Guineas at Newmarket on Sunday. David Ord joined by Matt Brocklebank and Kieran Clark to get stuck in to the classic action. Let's get the Timeform ratings up for this race. We're going to see two Irish-trained fillies atop it, Kieran. This is a real dilemma, this 1000 Guineas. It's the pick of last year's juvenile form being brought to the table without much clues from those at the top. Well, zero clues from those at the top of the ratings as 3-year-olds. How do you see it?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a wide open Guineas. Obviously that Moyglare form is understandably the best form in the book. To hear her beat Meditate in that, and she was really impressive. Then you've got the likes of Lazuda, Cheveley Park winner, Dream of Love, who's had a nice prep out in Dubai, went just behind Marge. Mama's Girl, the Nell Gwyn winner. We got the Fred Darling winner, or the race that was formerly the Fred Darling, further down there as well, and she beat Stenson Glider. This is wide open. I know we've been scratching our heads and going around in circles a bit, Matt, but hopefully we can come up with the winner. But yeah, the best way to begin would be that Tahira form, because obviously she looks a potential superstar. We've got the video of that. Our producer Dom likes a bit of gap between graphics. Look at that. I've done him a disservice. It's almost instant. Matt, the question we're going to have on this is Tahira always going to have the legs of Meditate?
It's interesting. Well, Aidan O'Brien seems to think that he's quite keen to have another shot at her, isn't he? You can see here, like Meditate was obviously quite keen to put the pace into the race. Furlong and a half out, he goes for home. Tahira looks to have it in control, but there is a bit of a gap, isn't it? And then suddenly at the furlong marker, she sprouts wings and closes the gap, and clearly has more natural speed at this stage. Now, is she just a crackerjack, little smart, brilliant 2-year-old that we're looking at here, or can she translate that and train on? Now, she's obviously in the right hands. It's interesting listening to Dermot Weld, isn't it? Because you never quite know whether he wants another month, ideally, whether he wanted to come to Newmarket or not. Obviously,
Philly doesn't help him, does she? She clearly shows nothing at home. Getting no vibes.
That is the thing, isn't it? If you went purely on his quotes around her not looking great, doesn't work brilliant at home, but he's done that over the years, hasn't he? So you have to sort of take that with a pinch of salt and treat her purely on the racecourse performance. It was brilliant. She sets the standard. I think she'll get the trip, to be perfectly honest. I think a mile will be well within her compass. She's is it a half to Tanawa, who obviously won at the Breeders' Cup. She's potentially brilliant. If she brings that and builds on it, she's standout in this field.
Ground will be the issue for me.
It's quicker, isn't it? There's a few rain showers around, maybe thundery.
Yeah, but it drives very quick, Newmarket. We're talking about potentially good to firm ground. She's got a real turn of foot in soft ground, but she's from a family who go really well in the mud, and I wouldn't be surprised if it got really, really quick if she didn't run.
It'd be interesting. I can certainly see Aidan's angle that he thought they were too forceful on Meditate that day, that they would become a sitting duck because they'd made too much use of her. So I don't think you'll be giving her first run this time. Anyway, it'll be fascinating to see. We've got the pace map, Kieran, because it's always a crucial part of any flat race. This is a classic. It's a big field, and it's a real head scratch when you look at where the dots are on that graph.
Yeah, there's pace everywhere. There's quite a lot of pace high. I wouldn't be surprised if these did go into two groups, and I think potentially a high draw could be an advantage, but you never really know at Newmarket, do you? They could end up in 3 groups for all we know. But yeah, just looking at that, certainly no disadvantage to be drawn high. Usually tends to be a course that you want to be on the speed, the Rolling Mile, especially if in drying conditions. It's quite hard to come from behind just because they're racing downhill for the majority of the way. But yeah, we're definitely going to get a well-run race anyway.
Let's have a look at some video clues. I now know I don't need to waffle for ages for the videos to be queued up. That they can be ready very, very quickly. We've had some trials this spring. Mama's Girl, first up. Now, Matt, there's 2 schools of thought on this one. Either she's flattered because she was sheltered from a headwind and got the run of the race, or she's been underestimated because people are saying that. Where do you sit?
Well, she's not going to be part of the speed, is she? I think she obviously was settled in first time out as well, winning at Newmarket. I think she's a little bit flattered here, Dave, if I'm perfectly honest. I also think the form itself probably needs improving upon to reach some of the others. If you look at the Godolphin horse there, is it Fairy Cross? Now, she's run a pretty gallant race from the front. It's only beaten 2.5 lengths. She's not even considered good enough to run in this race. And if you compare her form out in Meydan, she was well beaten by Morge. So she's not only got something to find on Morge, but also Dream of Love as well, which the form ties in. So I would have respect for Richard Hannon's filly. It's interesting, Hannon saying he won the Guineas and the 2,000 Guineas a couple of times with horses that got beaten in their trials, and he's hoping to book that trend. I can actually see it going the other way. I think Mama's Girl might have to settle for a supporting role.
She just missed the break a bit last time, and it potentially could have been an advantage for her the way that developed, but if she misses the break here, she's drawn on the rail in 20, she's going to need towards the rail, she's going to need an awful lot of luck, I think. But yeah, big ride for Kevin Stott.
Let's look at Newmarket winning the other trial, the artist formerly known as a Fred Darling. I mean, I love the way she went through the race, Kieran, but what went on when she was in front worries me in terms of is she ready to win a classic 2 weeks later? Yeah,
she's very raw, isn't she, Dave? You see her in the green colours, same colour. She's from the same family as the likes of Scope and Look Here, so she'll definitely stay a mile. She'll probably stay a bit further as well, although she is by Kingman. She's got a lot of speed from that sire, obviously. And you see here, she comes to win a race and she just goes to her left, and there is a bit of a flash of the tail there. Now, we put that down to residual greenness for now. The track could be a bit of a worry for me. It's quite an undulating track, isn't it? And I just worry as well. Most of the family end up in headgear, and there might be a case that she just has a little think about things for all that she is clearly very talented.
On that, you'd love her winging round the bend, maybe the Coronation Stakes, if you had to sort of get back one now for a right Ascot.
You certainly love owning her, wouldn't you? But
yeah, you would. Yeah, she's talented.
Yeah, I'd be. Talented, there's enough negatives there for me to take her on. I think her form needs to step up a notch as well.
Let's talk Lizou, really useful 2-year-old. We've got Lizou winning the Cheveley Park, capping off her 2-year-old season in fine style, Matt. Always a significant 2-year-old race of this season. Could it be significant in terms of the 1,000 guineas? What with the 2,000? The 1,000 guineas this time as well.
Well, yeah, it's kind of the sort of crowning moment, isn't it, for the sort of sharpest earlier 2-year-olds. I know it comes like at the end of September, but she's put up a fantastic performance. Again, with tactics at play here. She's wandered across a little bit towards the far side. William Buick rode her, but Frankie Dettori, who had ridden her previously, is back on at the weekend, obviously riding for his good friend, Mr. Mark Chan. And Meditate is second here. So the form does tie in very nicely. That, for me, was probably her big day. Again, we're jumping like we spoke about before the 2,000 guineas. We're jumping from these sort of fast 2-year-olds over 6 furlongs up to a mile. It is a real leap for some of them, and yeah, she wouldn't be for me. She's, she is a very fair price. She's sort of 14, 16 to 1, but it's not quite enough to lure me in, I don't think. I think at least she's a 2-year-old.
Yeah, at least there's a good programme for these 3-year-old sprinters now, because they used to get lost for a season, didn't they, if they weren't classic material. But yeah, there's plenty of options for her back down in trip, but she'll give Frankie a good spin. I just don't think she'll stay.
Let's talk a final video clue. It's from Newmarket, last back end, but it's not the winner that we're interested in here. We've got all sorts of interesting angles elsewhere. Matt, your main fans, your anti-post selection for the race is in action in the Godolphin Royal Blue.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Dave, because isn't it the winner that we're interested in? Well, Carnarvon won, and she is in here, and she's got to be of some interest, hasn't she? The way that she moved through this quite stylishly to pick up Dream of Love. And I think Carnarvon, to be fair to her, does doss around a little bit in front. It's softer ground this day. I wonder if she maybe get a bit further in time. And I mean, she'll win a handicap of 99, wouldn't she? But Dream of Love, as we said, she looked a little bit raw this day, Dream of Love, and just came a little bit soon, I think, after the debut win at Newmarket. But I really like her. I think she's going to make a real smashing 3-year-old, this filly. She's had the run over in Meydan through the winter, and if you want an eye-catching performance, go back and look at that run when she flashed home from another parish to get past Morge a nose after the line. William Buick said after the race, look, she's the most unlucky loser of this race. Morge went on to win easily at Meydan in a slightly better race later on, beating Fairy Cross, who's come out and finished second in the Nell Gwyn. I think the form's decent. Just that transformation, I think, from Dream of Love as a 2-year-old, a raw-looking 2-year-old there, where she admittedly didn't appear to handle the dip particularly well. She had done previously when winning at the course. To the performance that we saw of her in the winter, just so significant. I think that Charlie probably saw enough that day, put her away. She is his only runner in the 1,000 guineas. I think we can expect another massive jump of improvement. Whether it's enough to bridge the gap with Tahira, that's the big question. And Meditate as well, of course, who won at the Breeders' Cup. But Dream of Love, she was an anti-post fancy at 16 to 1. Hopefully we get 8, 10 to 1, because I think her claims are really, really strong.
She's the tip?
She'd be my tip, yeah. Dream of Love.
Yeah, can I just touch on the fact that she's been to Dubai, where it's obviously really hot and sunny, and we've had a really wet spring. And I think sometimes with fillies, they can find it hard to acclimatise.
It was really, really wet the day that she finished second. So if those thundery showers do unleash it,
it's just this time of year. That'll be my concern for all that she does have solid claims. My tip now, do you?
Your tip, Kieran. I mean, there were 2,000. We've got 1, 2, 3, and all sorts in a Bahamas. What have we got this time?
I think Meditate's the most solid one, really. Her form's rock solid. She'll have a nice positive ride, which really suits on this course. She obviously needs to overturn form with Tahira, but that was her first start on real deep ground. She handles quick ground really well. She just didn't have the toe for the Chief Depart when she was second. She then went out and won in America under a patient ride. Now, yes, that was a mile round the bend. I've got no problem with her staying a mile on this course. I think she's the one they have to beat. She's drawn 8, so Ryan Moore probably does have a decision where to go. He'll probably come this side, you think, looking at where the main protagonists are drawn. If you want one at a massive price, I probably don't have one, to be honest. But yeah, for me, it will probably be Meditate. She's a real solid each way bet, isn't she? If you want an account closing bet, there you go.
Meditating to close your betting accounts from Kieran. Thanks to Kieran and Matt for their thoughts on the Kipco 1,000 Guineas. And best of luck with your own bets at Newmarket this weekend.